Claim is that black on black crime is a result of underinvestment and over-policing.
So you say that black on black crime is due to underfunding and over-policing, essentially.
Yes.
I actually don't necessarily disagree with one of those. Okay. I think that, however, the government, who do you think should be responsible for the funding piece of the black community? Should that be something that the government should step into, or should that be something that we as black people need to handle ourselves? Dr. Jordan Peterson and even Thomas Sowell and several others have stated one thing, that poverty and crime, there's a positive correlation. There's also a positive correlation in the black community of absentee fatherism being one of the root causes leading into criminality. Black males that grew up without a father are 10 times more likely to engage in criminal activity. And so I think one of the...
Can I put a pin right there and ask you a question?
Ask me whatever you like.
What is the root cause of there being less fathers present?
Bad decision making on the part of the fathers. We live in a patriarchal system. Like it or not, men have dominated the socioeconomic, economic, and political power of this country and the world since our existence. So our bad decision-making, especially when we focus on the black community, is the root cause of fatherlessness.
What type of decisions?
Not.
He cooking. He cooking. He cooking. I completely agree with that point right there, that it does come down to decision-making. It comes down to decision-making. I know there's a lot of people that will say, well, a lot of these black men, they have to rob and kill and steal to be able to provide for their family. That's absolutely 100% not true. And you could just see the things that they're stealing, right? They're not stealing that chain so they can go sell it and make money for their family. They're not stealing yogurt, Greek yogurt from Walmart. They're not robbing people so they can provide for their family. They're robbing people so that they can go buy Jordans, so that they can go buy a new car or whatever. They're selling drugs so that they can provide a certain lifestyle that they believe they deserve because they don't want to go and get slow money. And ultimately, a lot of these homes are, without fathers because of the decision making of not only the man, but the woman getting with a man who she knows is not going to be able to provide because he has a criminal record, because he's in and out of jail, because he's shown no aptitude for wanting to think about their future. And so I do think that it comes down to the decision making of black men. And I would rather believe that, because if it comes down to the decision making, then just make better decisions. And until black men start making better decisions, and then we continue to see high crime rates and low fatherness in black households, then I think we can have a broader discussion about whether black on black crime is due to underinvestment and over policing. But it starts with the decision making.
Marrying the women we decide to lay down and have children with. Not being careful with the seeds that we plant in women. No woman can get pregnant without a man planting his seed inside of her. So therefore...
So it's marriage.
Well, that's a part of it. Marriage is a part of it.
Okay.
But the true piece that I'm looking at is connectedness between familial units. The black community was at its economically strongest while being at its poorest during the segregation era. Prior to 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King in his last speech said that we have an annual income of more than $30 billion a year, which is more than all of the exports of Canada and more than all of the exports of the United States and more than the national budget of Canada. That was when we were economically at our poorest. Yet 85% of our black children were growing up with a father in the home. There was less black on black crime. There was less disenfranchisement.
Why was there less black on black crime?
Because we needed to live together. We had to stick by each other. We had to stick by each other.
What was there also less of?
I'm not sure where you're leading. That's a leading question. I don't like those.
You don't like this?
I don't like leading questions, no. I like direct stuff.
So essentially, when we were living in our own communities, we were also policing our own communities. So we were not being used as statistics in the same way to determine how resources were provided to our own communities. When we were going to the government saying, hey, we deserve because we are supposed to be separate but equal, we weren't saying, hey, we want to be with y'all. We were essentially saying, we want what you are stating we deserve. And that is what all of the efforts of the civil rights movement has been. It's literally just been to say, you said when we got out of the Civil War that we would be considered citizens. And all citizens should be getting equal access to these things. However, you are actively allowing the Klan to harm us. You are actively allowing...
Who's killed more black people, the Klan or us?
I would like to continue my statement. I let you speak uninterrupted.
You did.
When we talk about this concept of who is harming us, we are really making a false claim when it comes to black on black crime, as if there isn't white on white crime. There's also this unnecessary effort to try and pathologize black on black crime in a way that you don't try to pathologize white on white crime. There are white people killing each other every single day. Now, they may be on jet skis in the pictures after they shoot up their whole family, but nonetheless, there are white people killing each other every single day. Now, much of the reason why you may see more numbers in terms of black on black crime are for two reasons. One, the statistics be lying all the time. We have seen this.
Numbers? Okay, when you
we
say
have
that,
seen
no, no,
this
no.
in a real way.
But I have a
So in
question.
New
No,
Jersey.
when you say
So
when
in
you
New
say
Jersey.
that, what numbers can be trusted? Because with the previous speaker, you
I'm
said
about to
statistics all
tell
the
you
time.
right now.
Okay, so your sources can
You
be
can't
trusted.
such number. No, I'm literally about to give you an example of numbers not being able to be trusted.
Okay, talk to me.
That's what I was doing.
I'm listening.
Okay, then listen.
We're gonna stop right there and break it down a little bit. So she's pretty much arguing that black on black crime is not as big of a problem because at one point, you know, during segregation, black people we were policing our own communities, and you know that explains the lower crime rate. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think there was a shift. I think there was a shift in values. I think there was a shift in values because you had a whole generation, like they weren't growing up without fathers. They weren't growing up without fathers. Black men weren't carrying around guns, shooting each other when they had disagreements. We were still using our fists, and we didn't see a lot of the drugs. I thought that's where she was going to go with it, was that drugs were poured in our communities. And then you saw a bunch of black men trying to take advantage of this opportunity and go sell these drugs and come up with fast money. And then the prison system put them in jail. And I thought that's where she was going to go with it, but she didn't. She went with, well, we were policing our own communities and things like that. But here's the God's honest truth. You don't want to live in a majority of these black communities because the crime rate is so high. We see it all the time. Just look at Nipsey Hussle. Killed in his own hood, in front of his own store, not by white people, but by a black person. And this happens every single day. And this is one of the reasons why black on black crime is such a big thing, is because I don't know. And maybe I'm just out the loop. I don't know when, we're not even talking about celebrity, right? I don't know when just a regular successful white person, they start making money and doing better for themselves. I don't know when they can't go back to where they grew up from. I don't know that that's true. I don't see that in the white community. I don't see where, somebody in the white community went off to college, got themselves up, and they start making money, and now they can't go around just regular white people because they're going to get killed. You don't see that. I don't see where white men singing country are like, well, I'm gonna kill me a whitey today, and if he come up, I'ma shoot him a day. You don't see that, bruh. You don't see white people talking about killing other white people in the same way that you see black people doing it. It's not mainstream. There's not a lot of energy put into it. So listen, the number one risk, in my opinion, to black people right now is other black people. I don't see that with white people. I don't see where there's a constant fear from white people of other white people. But let's continue.
Oh, the mic is open.
So listen, in New Jersey, they had a statistic that was created by the police department that said, look at how many black people are committing crimes. Look at how crazy this number is. These black people are so exorbitantly violent. Look at this. And then people went and actually matched the names that they were booking with the faces of the actual people incarcerated. Okay. And it was proven that they were lying.
So that's one instance.
That's
Hold on.
one
No.
example.
You're talking to somebody that works as a police dispatcher when I'm not making content. So here's the thing.
I see.
No. You see what?
Well,
Truth is, you're about to see the truth if you just give me a second. Like Trump said, just give me a second. I'm going to do the weave, but give me a minute.
Well, here's what you all keep doing. You keep
Just
interrupting me when I'm talking, and you don't want to hear the point that I'm going to make. And yet you want me to respect your point. And that's not how a debate works. So if you want me to keep getting louder, I will do it. But ultimately, if I show you respect, give me the respect back. I let you talk. I let you make your points. I am countering your points. And my points are just as valid as yours, even though you got a pocket square and a Church of Christ pin on your chest.
It's not a Church of Christ. It's
Whatever.
A cross.
It's a cross. Same difference. You got an American flag and you think you know something because you a cop. And ultimately,
Not a cop, dispatcher. There's a
ultimately
difference.
it's a cab all day over here. So let me make that clear. But let me also add to my point. My point is that you can sit here and blame black people on black people all day long and not acknowledge that we are forced into. You're coming to interrupt me again.
I haven't even said a word.
All right, that is flagged, so I'm gonna ask you to return to your seat.
It's a waste of my time. Y'all just want to be seen. I don't need to be seen.
Can you please just hear me?
Hello.
How
Nice.
are you? I'm
Yes,
Jasmine,
sir.
the pretty queen.
Lady.
Say less outfit. Okay.
Thank you.
So this is my thing. I think the premise of your question was black on black crime. So I think I'm coming from a place, and I guess my issue is having had my biological father murdered by a black man, having had my cousin shot in the head by a black man. We can talk numbers and statistics and what the people are doing and what the white man is doing and all that. But at the end of the day, I see when my family lives on the south side of Chicago, and I think you and I both can attest to this, and I'm not saying that there are not other factors, but we know that we kill each other at a disproportionate rate than any other race. Now, why we do that and why 6,000 to 9,000 black men are gonna be homicided or killed or whatever by the end of the year annually by other black men, whereas the likelihood of a black man being killed by a white police officer is less than 150 per year, we know that we kill each other at a higher rate. So I'm not debating that there are not factors at play, but because I've lived the experience as a black woman losing my father to be murdered by a black man walking down the street.
I'm sorry to hear that, by the way.
No worries, thank you. But walking down the street in inner cities and different things, knowing that it's more likely that my own brother will rob and rape me than a white man or a white officer, we gotta be real.
What's your proximity to white men in the south side of Chicago? Are there even white men around to rob and rape you at the same rate that there are black men?
There are white men around.
At the same rate?
There wasn't a lot of black people in there, but then that doesn't justify the fact that we're destroying each other. So even if we get to the root, like
we can agree on that,
okay,
sis.
because I feel like a lot of
Nothing
times liberals will
justifies.
argue like, well,
I'm not
the
a
white people
liberal.
are killing
I am not a
people.
liberal. I'm not a liberal.
Here's the problem with that, right? Here's the problem with that. She's saying, well, essentially, are there enough white people around? Amanda's saying, are there enough white people around for you to be able to fairly compare how white people will treat you versus black people will treat you? And I think the numbers are out there. When black people move to white neighborhoods, I don't think that they're getting killed by white people in those neighborhoods and at the same rate that black people are getting killed at the same rate when we're in black neighborhoods. Let's just be real here, bruh. As a matter of fact, a lot of black people move out of these black neighborhoods and from the hood and go live in a white neighborhood, and they're not getting killed like that. Their kids aren't getting killed like that, and that's why they are going there. That's just it. That's why they are going there. We got to have an honest conversation, right? Because I like where this girl is going. She's saying, hey, the statistics, no matter how you slice and dice it, my experience is when I'm dealing with black people, I'm going to be in danger in these communities. That's just what it is. And if I want to get away from that, and I want my children to get away from that, and I want to give them the best chance to succeed, I have to move away from these black neighborhoods. Because we do not respect each other for whatever reason. Now, we can sit here and talk about the reasons why and things like that. And I guess her argument is black on black crime as a result of underinvestment and over policing. But understand this. When you start investing into a community, guess what happens? The property values go up. Naturally, the property values go up. Other businesses say, oh, this business invested in there, so I'm going to invest in it. But here's the problem. As property values go up, it attracts other people who can maybe afford to live there and wouldn't be struggling as much. So then they come in, and then the property values go up. But what happens is in these situations, businesses are afraid to come in and invest in the black community because when there's a police shooting or something doesn't go our way, we tear the community down. So nobody wants to build a business there because the business is going to be thinking 10, 15, 20 years into the future. And within the next 15 years, are these people going to tear this business down or not? When I drive through this area, there's a bunch of abandoned buildings. Are they going to treat my building right? You know, when are some YNs going to run up on me and try to rob me while I'm going into my store? You know, if I'm living in California and they're not showing up to the crime scenes and people are just able to walk in and take whatever they want, am I going to be able to run a business here effectively? Like, you know, the money's going to flow where there's opportunity. And if businesses and capital is saying, we do not want to invest in these areas because we don't think it's a good return on our investment, we have to look at that. It's not just like, oh, we just invest over there. No, the culture has to be right. The culture, like if I'm going to invest in like let's say a child, I want to invest in them. I want them to go off to college, or I want them to go and start a business, and I'm going to fund that. I need to make sure I'm going to get a return on my investment and that they're going to do what they need to do. And one of the things that, the black community has to do is when investments start pouring in, we cannot turn those investments away. We have to do what we have to do so that more people want to invest in these areas. But when we're constantly burning stuff down, we're running up on people, there's shootouts in front of these businesses, of course no one's going to want to invest in them. And when you talk about over policing, I actually don't think that there's enough police. And when we say over policing, understand that it's not necessarily the quantity of police that are the problem. It's that, and I do agree, sometimes when you're trying to be proactive as a police officer, you start going and looking for crime, and then what ends up happening is that you run into some people that aren't actually committing crimes. You treat them bad because you think that they're like the other people, and then they complain, and then you lose trust within the community, and then nobody wants to say anything because they don't trust the police, and you're looked at as the enemy. And there's not collaboration between the community and the police departments, because the police don't trust the community and the community don't trust the police. And, the police are trying to go do their job and they want to make it home to their family. The black people just want to be respected and not looked at as criminals. But the problem is they don't want to speak out against the criminals within the community because they might retaliate, and the criminal justice system might not lock them up for certain things, and people aren't going to say stuff. So it's a mess. It's a mess.
Liberal.
Okay, well, I will say that people that sometimes have your stance that are against conservatives, maybe they have this claim that they're making it up, they're making up the numbers. We know that we do that to each other. So I want to get to the root of the issue. Why are we killing each other? I think the root of the issue is we've lost our values and we've lost our resilience as black people. We sit there and we talk about what the white man did, and we talk about slavery and everything like that, but we have no self-accountability and say, you know what, at the end of the day, that is my black grandmother, that is my black sister, you are my black sister, and you know that a black man is more likely to rob you or commit some type of crime against you. And that's what we need to get down to the issue of. And like you were talking about earlier, like, hey, well, what's going on? What do you think the answer is to one of the brothers that were speaking? I think it's the breakdown of the family. I think, like he said, because of our poor choices, and what happens is we look at domestic violence, for example. When domestic violence, women or men are even attacked, what is the first thing we say? It's like, you know what? It's not your what? It's not your fault. So that's what we do. We hold on to this narrative that, well, it's not our fault, and the issues in our community, they're not our fault, and the white man needs to give us something. The old white lady down the street is looking at me, and I don't know why she got braids in her hair. And we focus on all these other stupid things that don't matter. We don't get to the root of the fact that we're killing each other at a higher rate than any other race. It is self-hatred amongst us. I believe that we can do that. That my cousin, my mom's cousin, coming from the church parking lot, and guess who stuck her up and robbed her at gunpoint? A black man.
I need you to get to the point.
Like,
so
my
I can
point
respond.
is that no, and I'm not trying to be funny, unless like you said, we're gonna keep it respectful.
Yeah,
so
but you're monopolizing the whole conversation.
I'm
We're
not trying.
being
Okay, I'm
able
gonna let
to-
you speak, but let's not get the
Yes.
attitudes and stuff, because you're my sister and I respect you. So
I don't have an attitude. I'm being direct to you, but you're literally speaking this, and you're not going to do that with me either.
Okay,
so you're
I'm
stating your
respecting
point, and you've been stating your point for quite some time.
So
do you have a reason for me to respond?
Would you allow me to respond? So that's a better response. Go ahead.
The response that I have for you is that everything you're saying does not exist in a vacuum. I actually agree with you in that, yes, there has been an incredible denigration of black worth and black pride in this nation. I think it's also very important to acknowledge what has contributed to that. And to state that it is only black people that have contributed to that is a false flag. So we have to admit that. So in order to have this conversation around...
That's not what she was saying. She wasn't saying that it's only black people that have contributed to it. She's speaking more from the reality of things that she's experienced. She's experienced her father being killed by a black man. She's experienced her grandma, I think, or her cousin being held up by black men and robbed at gunpoint. She's experienced other people in her family being killed by black people. And so she's speaking to her reality. She's not speaking to what's on the news. She's not speaking to what people have said in some of these liberal circles or radical circles or whatever. She's speaking to real life experience and the people around her. And I think that that's important as well, in that, honestly, if more women thought like her in terms of just accountability and stuff like that, more black women, I think that we would be better off. She seems like she's a very intelligent person. She didn't have an attitude. She was articulating her point in a very calm, collected manner. And it looks like, you know, she is one of the black people that are like, hey, you know, I'm going to go out here and get it. I'm going to take accountability for my actions. I'm not going to blame other people. Where, yes, there are problems and we need to fix them. But at the end of the day, my decisions are going to dictate how my life turns out. My decisions are going to dictate how my life turns out.
How we got here. You can't say, oh, well, we're caring about the white woman getting braids and that doesn't matter and this thing. All of that attaches. All of that is actually a very big part of the lack of worth of black people.
I'll ask you, do you think we're resilient? What does resilience mean to you? Do you think we have to be perpetual victims, or do you think that black people are resilient?
I think that those are two different conversations. I think that the concept of black people being victims is really trying to not provide accountability to where the root problem for the actual cause is. And if we keep saying that somebody is a victim and that doesn't mean that the other person should have to actually have accountability, then what are we really doing? You can do both. You can be a victim and be resilient.
How do we do both if you stay in the victimhood? That's my question.
But your statement about black people staying in the victim place is also your point of view.
But how do we rise above it?
We continue to rise above it by, one, pouring into our communities with mutual aid, but two, by simultaneously making sure that we are challenging the systems that are in place to impede us. We have so many opportunities where we are trying to do mutual aid and those things get disrupted by folks who want to have capitalist gain, by folks who want privatization. We used to have all these mom and pop businesses in our communities.
There's over 3 million black millionaires in America right now. You are an intelligent black woman that is successful.
That's irrelevant.
No one's stopping me from doing anything. I'm an intelligent black woman that graduated and is successful.
Many efforts have tried to stop me from doing what I do. We are not all equal in our capabilities. And we are not all equal in our ability to be invested in by others.
I agree with
we
you.
are not all equal in our trauma.
Are we resilient?
We can't say because it is a false equivalency.
I believe that every black person has resilience.
We
from
keep
slavery
trying,
all the way
but we
until
keep trying to cause.
I'm so sorry.
I think that was a great debate. I see both sides of it. What I'll say is this. This is a tough issue because we always want to try to point to the root cause. What is the root cause? What is the root cause? I want to focus on what is the root solution. I don't think that we need to necessarily understand the root cause to the level that we need to, understand how to solve it, right? If we, for example, know that black men are killing other black men and we don't necessarily know the root cause of it, we can sit here and say all day long, well, this is the root cause and this is the root cause and this is the root cause. But what are we going to do about it? At a certain point, action has to be taken on some level to get things down. So my question would be, what solutions have we tried? What solutions have we tried that have not worked? One of the things that she was talking about, Amanda, the one with the glasses, she kept saying, other people commit crimes and, we can't look at this in a vacuum and all those other things contribute. And I really used to think like that, but also at the same time, it's hard to think like that when you're around some of these people where it's like, bro, just go get a job at Target. You don't have to sell drugs. Just go get a job at Target. Go get you a nice little apartment. Bro, don't go rob that person. Don't go rob them. You not doing this to eat. You on food stamps. You got money to eat. You not doing this to eat. You doing this for the new J's. Right? I think it's the nuance as well. And if we're being real, whatever we want to talk about, black on black crime, I'm not moving to the hood. I'm not moving around some of these black communities because I don't want to become a victim. I understand that I'm safer in white communities because when I'm walking around, and yes, there might be some profiling and the cops might be called, but I can typically talk my way out of that or be respectful during the encounter. And we see a lot less of that now. But I understand that I'm a target. There's a target on my back when I go into a lot of these black communities. I mean, for example, I was showing, as a real estate agent one time, I was showing a property in South Dallas. I was showing a property, one of my clients one time, he's an investor. And while we were inside the property, someone was trying to steal our car. Someone was walking up to the car, trying to open the car and get inside of it. My client, they had their thing on them, their weapon, and they went outside with it. and they was like, hey, what's going on? And the dude ran off, and then he went and he got someone's broom off their porch and just took it and walked off with it and stuff like that. Could have easily been a situation with black on black crime. I can relate to the lady that she's debating when she's talking about her reality and saying, listen, I don't care what y'all saying on paper. This is what I'm experiencing in real life. When I wake up and I walk out my door, I don't have to worry about white people. I have to worry about black people. And this is not just because of where I live. This is not just, it's like wherever I go, I'm out at a restaurant and there's, chaos going on and there's a group of black people and maybe they traveled from, I don't know where they came from, but now all of a sudden there's an issue because we don't know if stuff's going to pop off because they got to sit here and get upset and be loud and stuff like that and be disrespectful because they're bringing that energy from the hood over here to this restaurant now. Or whatever the case is, it's like we can't deny that those things happen. And so I think that this was a great discussion. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you've made it this far in the video, tap in, subscribe, like the video, really helps the algorithm. And also, if you're a content creator looking to grow your brand online, make sure you tap into my Content Confidence Workbook. Information is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Appreciate you.